Oh, sorry, y'all. I'm so bad at I totally forgot that I even started this live. So let me just get into it. I wasn't going to be doing well, I wasn't really sure if I was gonna do any lives or videos this week on this particular channel for a lot of reasons. But after I took like my 1 week YouTube hiatus, and I just, I like to respond to your comments. So I went to my community and I saw that a lot of people left comments. I saw that MGTOW was all up in my comment section, not watching my videos, but just assuming that I have a vagina. So they must know what I'm thinking. Um, and some white people came through, some people who are into BDSM came through. I don't know, like everybody just came out of the woodwork. And so I was responding to all these comments, but I figured, what the heck? Why don't I just make a video addressing these things so that they can all come to this video and complain instead of just jumping under every single video that I make, not knowing what they're talking about, making themselves look crazy. So yeah, so let's get into it. Juan Watterson asked me, what would I do if one of my children was gay? Because you guys know I take a hard stance against homosexuality. I don't approve of it. I'm not going to approve of it. I really hate when people ask me this question. I hate when people ask me, well, what if your kids are gay? Especially because I'm like, if you're asking this question, you aren't familiar with my content, because I talk about the fact that we can affect and people can affect the outcome of a child's sexuality. So sexual abuse is a great example of that. Non-corrective parenting, when you see your child do something that's not sex appropriate, not gender appropriate, and you don't correct it or you enable that. So there are all these things, but I hate when people bring that up. If I had a gay child, they might not want to mention it to me. I'm not going to incorporate homosexuality into my life. I raised my kids with a clear understanding of what homosexuality is and why it's something we don't approve of and why it is something that's counterproductive. And so I hope being a responsible parent, just like with other deviancies, would prevent that, right? But I can't guarantee that. But I really hate hypotheticals. Darth Vader was really in his feelings on my Christian domestic discipline video. Oh, let me say hi to you guys. Hi, Ms. Buckner. Hi, Tiffany. Hi, B1 for Life. Hi, Charze. Hi, Dr. G. Hi, Wolf Clan. Hi, Reggie. Hi, Neon Eyes. So Darth Vader said that I'm stereotyping when I say that BDSM and those who decide these types of, I think he means decide on these types of relationships, are dysfunctional or they have issues. That's not true for everyone. And two, you're stereotyping, which is not cool. Okay, his comment is really long, so I'm going to just break it down. First of all, he says that I'm stereotyping when I say that BDSM and those who decide to be in these types of relationships are dysfunctional or they have issues. Okay, so I didn't really say that I feel people who participate in BDSM have issues. I'm pretty sure I had Alan Roger Curry on here to talk about mode 1, and he is a dominant in the lifestyle. So I'm also sure that I literally have an interview with a Black man who has his leathers from the BDSM community. So I don't really know where he got that I said that the relationships were dysfunctional. I feel like I haven't talked a lot about BDSM on this channel, but I feel that BDSM has a lot of benefits as far as heterosexual BDSM in maintaining traditional roles. And I'm big on power exchange, and I'm big on order and control. And so discipline is a big part of BDSM. It's actually the D in BDSM is discipline. So I don't know what Darth Vader is talking about. I really hate when people assume that they know where I'm going with something. And we're going to get to that with the MGTOW babies, because MGTOW has been under my toxic masculinity video, clearly not watching the video, y'all. And so MGTOW is so obsessed with me that today y'all are going to get my time, MGTOW. We're going to just talk about it. Hi, Kenny. So, anyway, Darth Vader, I did not say that people who engage in BDSM are dysfunctional, but there are often very dysfunctional people engaged in the BDSM lifestyle. That's just truth, just period. You know, BDSM is a spectrum of behavior, right? From kinksters, you know, people who just want to be smacked on the butt and slapped around during sex, to people who want a speculum shoved up their vaginas and have, you know, needles poked inside of them. So it's a spectrum. And I don't really subscribe to the BDSM philosophy that you are incapable of judging whether somebody is going way too far or everything has to be okay. We can't say nothing that nobody is doing is a problem. A lot of people have been abused, have mental issues, and there are a lot of predators in the BDSM community. If you go to Munches, places like FetLife, there are a lot of dysfunctional people there that make the BDSM lifestyle look bad. I'm not going to back down from saying that, Darth Vader, just because it makes a few dominants and masters and submissives and you guys uncomfortable. Like, it is what it is, if we're honest about it. And I know a lot of people in the BDSM community. I'm very close with the founder of the largest Black BDSM society in the country. So I'm going to go with, I probably know more than you. Okay, so I'm going to say that. As far as Christian domestic discipline, I didn't call out whether or not I thought it was okay for men to spank their wives or not. I said that's a personal thing. And that clearly, you know, people want me to make the video because they want me to co-sign or not co-sign a behavior, and I'm not going to do it. Like, what you or your husband do together is between, or you and your wife do together is between you guys, just period. But I think because I have personally not done a dedicated video on my views of BDSM or spanking or any kind of physical chastisement, my personal views specifically on BDSM, because BDSM and Christian domestic discipline are not the same thing, Darth Vader. So I don't think that you really know how I feel. So I'll just say that. And then I want to address the 30,000 MGTOW people who have come under my toxic masculinity video. Because you guys are literally mentally ill. So first of all, to the MGTOW community, I disabled the comments on some of my MGTOW videos because you guys are highly emotional, okay? You're very, very emotional. And I don't want to deal with that. You know, I read everybody's comments. This is my channel. You guys come, you get into your feelings, you start talking reckless and crazy. I can only be offered to be raped or some crazy stuff so many times before you guys are going to get the comments disabled. Here's the thing with MGTOW. I don't even know why you guys have a problem with me, because everybody knows that I'm very traditional, okay? Very traditional. I'm not with the gender war, any of that stuff. I'm none of the things that you guys say that you don't like. You know what I mean? I went through a divorce where I could have gotten alimony and I didn't get alimony. Where I could have took somebody through the ringer and I didn't do that. I'm married. I'm a traditionalist. I believe in male headship. MGTOW really shouldn't have a problem with me. But I think the fact that I'm like that is exactly why you guys have a problem with me. Because you claim women are not the way that I am, but I am who I am, and I still don't like you. Because you guys are like feminists to me. So what irritates me about you guys, because I know that MGTOW, like, you guys like to make videos about me every now and again, and then like you guys come by the hundreds, literally, and you come to my videos and you start to just comment without watching the video because you just assume that I'm a feminist and you assume you know everything I'm going to say. They are feminine. Very true, B1 for life. And so they're coming under my toxic masculinity video. So for those of you who watched my toxic masculinity video, you know I went off in that video because I don't believe in toxic masculinity. I just don't think that's a thing. I don't think there's a such thing as toxic masculinity. And I think it's weird that a transgender man came up with the theory of toxic masculinity. That's just bizarre. Like, it's a man who doesn't want his own penis. And yet MGTOW is so retarded and emotional. that if they would have just listened to the first 5 minutes of the video, half of them wouldn't have left the stupid ass comments that they left in my comment section. Somebody told me everything I have is due to toxic masculinity. I'm like, did you watch the video? I don't even believe in toxic masculinity. You just assume because I don't like MGTOW, I must not like men. No, I don't like you. Just you. I don't have a problem with men. I just have a problem with MGTOW. Those two things are not synonymous. You know, going on long rants about toxic masculinity. I'm like, you guys just saw the title to the video and you just assume because I have a vagina, I must be on there spewing some sort of feminist talking point about toxic masculinity. One person said that women develop toxic masculinity. And I was like, so you didn't watch the video because a man developed the concept of toxic masculinity. Women had nothing to do with this. It was one of your own people. One of your own men who has gone his own way from vagina too. He doesn't want vagina either. Is the one who came up with toxic masculinity. So, you know, MGTOW wants my attention. So you guys have got my attention. Stop being stupid. Like, watch the damn videos. Before you comment on my videos, you make yourself look dumb leaving comments like that because people who watch the video know that you clearly didn't watch the video. They are sugar booties. They're hecka feminine. I don't know what red pill is, Neon Ice. What is red pill? Yes, Neon Ice. FetLife is like a place. I would not advise people to go to FetLife and try to, unless you're looking for a munch. I don't think FetLife is the place for sane people. Do you know what I mean? I just don't. There's a lot of stuff the BDSM community does I don't agree with. Like, I'm from San Francisco. I don't like public play. I don't like public play. I would never engage in or approve of like public play. So the parade that they have, I'm not with it. The power exchange, like the idea of it, I think is irresponsible. I think playing with somebody you don't know personally is very dangerous. It's like casual sex. Do you know what I mean? But like worse, because letting somebody beat the hell out of you is a little more intimate than just sex. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a very compromising position, letting a stranger tie you up and all that. But yeah, okay, so what else is here? So then there are white people. So I had I'm assuming a white woman or a man that is using the picture of a white woman who says that here's how this works. Go look for stats at the local levels or use critical thinking. Is East St. Louis safe to walk through compared to a poor white neighborhood? Well, this is really funny because she did this on my per capita. So you guys know I did a video like when I first came on YouTube about FBI stats. So here's the weird situation that I'm in, you guys. I am a conservative, okay? I'm conservative. I'm not Republican. I'm conservative. So I'm traditional. I'm okay with a patriarchy. Like, I'm comfortable there. I believe in small government. You know, I'm conservative in a lot of ways. Because I'm conservative and there's sort of a popularity for Black conservatives right now, a lot of my talking points attract white people until they hear that I am conservative, but I'm not about to kiss your white butt. So then it's a love-hate relationship. Like, they love half of what I'm saying, but they don't love it. And so in the spirit of that, when I did my walkaway video, a lot of people thought I was talking about joining the Republican Party. But if you listen to the video, I say that Democrats and Republicans are both trash, right? And what I was getting was a lot of people quoting these stats about Black men being the most violent, Black men being the most whatever. And my response to that was to create a video with the FBI stats to show that white people commit more crime. So whites complained and whined about that. And they were like, well, per capita this, per capita that. So I made a second video crunching the per capita stats. Now, how does this relate to this woman's comment? Because she's commenting on the second video. And in that video, I even talk about crime and poverty. And poor white people are actually more prone to commit crime than poor black people, right? Now, I didn't have time to get into this woman about the history of the myth that Black people commit crime and are violent, how that ties into the post-slavery era, how that ties into the Black Code, how there was a whole propaganda campaign to encourage this belief because they essentially needed Black bodies to continue on slave labor following slavery. That's all real history. I couldn't go into all that with her. But like at the very least, your own people have come up with these statistics. And when your own people have control over the statistics, it still shows that you guys are more violent. Black men do commit the most assault and they do commit the most murders, which is essentially men fighting with other men. But I would say that that's just what is considered illegal. We know that white people kill more people, period, globally. They just don't call it a crime. Do you know what I'm saying? They're just not calling it a crime. But even if I give them that, every other crime white people commit more. They rape women and children more. They commit violent arson. I didn't even know arson could be violent, but apparently they'll set you on fire in your own house more. They commit robbery more. Like every other crime, they do more. Every other crime. And they outnumber us. So if you need to be scared, you need to be scared of these white boys running around because they're the ones committing all the crime. But she said, you know, that we could go look at, her name is Wow, Just Wow. And she said, you know, here's how this works. Go look at the stats at local levels or use critical thinking. Is East St. Louis safe to walk around compared to a poor white neighbor or on one? Are these not white people running around faces and arms and stuff? Is it just me? Am I the only person that's heard of this? Hey, Miss Red. Okay, Neon Eyes. Thank you for clarifying that for me. Hey, Rhea. Hey, Deadshot. Hey, Dark Prophet. I hope school's going well. So I don't know what delusion she's in. Not only, think about this, the FBI stats show that white people commit the most crime across the board, including per capita. And this is even considering that there are laws now that if they're high on meth, if they're high on methamphetamine, when they're caught, they can't even really be charged with a crime. And they still are being quoted as committing the most crime. You got to think about that. But this is like where the delusion with white people is like super freaking high. He said, she said, how many car hackers, I think she means jackers, do I know? I don't know any. See, she's hella disrespectful. Because I'm Black, I must know a carjacker. Let's be clear. Home invasions, carjackings, those are white and white Asian crimes. Robbery and stuff like that, according to the FBI, that's your people doing that. They do that more than our people. They have chop shops more than Black people. She said, how many gangs and mob violence have you seen and heard? Well, the last I heard, Britain, the gang of the British Crown, was all up off of the coast of India, killing off whole groups of Black people. That's your people. Last I heard, Europe has the highest rate of child sexual abuse. So these white people get live not only in the United States, y'all are getting live globally speaking. So you have a hell of a lot of nerve. My people have, can we count even on one hand how many times Black people have gone and killed out a whole group of people? On one hand. We can all say Rwanda. Now, after that, I dare you guys to name another time Black people went and just killed a whole entire group of people where they are completely extinct. There are none left. White people have done this 10 times in the past 10 years. So how many carjackers do I know? How many gangs and mob violence have you seen and heard? I see white people getting live all the time. There's a reason FBI stats are lies. I agree, FBI. So now she's saying, no, so here, this is the coin that they try to play. Miss Wow, just wow. She's really funny because when they want to talk bad about us, the FBI stats are the truth. Okay? When they want the FBI stats to say something bad about us, they're true. When a black woman comes up and then puts the FBI stats and does some flipping math on her ass, all of a sudden the FBI stats are lies. Like, for real? Because I'm pretty sure Ben Shapiro and the rest of the mob squad are running around saying the FBI stats are the truth. But now that I bring it up and it makes you guys look bad, all of a sudden it's a lie. You guys have to read their comments in the comment section of that video. White people came for my complete neck on that video because they thought they had me with per capita. No, because me, I will go and I will do some math on you. We'll sit here and have a real conversation since you want to be faux intellectuals. She says Asian people are calm and nonviolent. Most home invasions are whites and Asians. How are they calm and nonviolent? I don't understand that. Hey, JW. Joe. Oh, you changed your name, Joe. So she said Asians are calm and nonviolent. Is that why white people are super tight over China? Is that why we fear China, because Asians are so calm and nonviolent? Because I'm pretty sure white people are on television whining about China and North Korea on the flipping regular. But they're not about to make a move against them because they know they'll have the floor wiped with them. These nonviolent, calm Asians were in the Vietnam War ripping people's guts out. They're so calm and nonviolent, though. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what is she saying? When's the last time a group of our people ran around and ripped somebody's guts out? We're so violent, but yet you're on my comment section capable of making this comment. See, if I was violent, you would know better than to open up your mouth to fix it, to say something crazy to me. I made a video, and it's on my Patreon now because I couldn't leave it up here on YouTube. I said, if Black people were as bad as they thought we were, if we were not forgiving to a fault, blood would literally be running in the streets. White people kill me when they say that we're violent and this and that. No, you don't know what violence is. If we move the way you guys move, this wouldn't even be a conversation we would be having. You would be off hiding in the woods somewhere, shaking and peeing on yourself, hoping you don't see a Black person. If we were half as bad as they say we are, y'all, we wouldn't be asking for reparations because there would be no white people in power to give them out. We would have snatched those reparations up. It's so funny, but we're the violent ones. I'm pretty sure that all of those Black people that died off the Indian coast in the past 10 years, the white people were more violent than them. They went to a party and killed all of the people that were hosting it. Pretty sure that every serial killer, darn near, every cannibal in the Western world, every weirdo who raped 50 children was white or Asian. When are these people calm and nonviolent? I'm trying to understand where Wow Just Wow is getting her whole thought process. She's very confused. That's like literally crazy. But she is in my comment section. We're so violent, but you're hella comfortable being in my comment section talking crazy to me. Aren't you afraid of me? I'm violent. You know what I'm saying? Why are you poking the bear if we're so awful? You should be afraid to be in my comment section talking to me. I might snap. Oh, and then they try the whole, they include Hispanics with whites on crime, but separate them as groups under other victims. That's not true, actually. They separate Hispanics. But here's the thing. What is a white Hispanic but a white person that's speaking Spanish? Do we not know a full-on white person when we see them? What if they speak Portuguese? If they speak Spanish? If they speak French? Are these, you know what I'm saying? Like, does the language change what race you are? I'm very confused. Are Spanish people not white? Because last time I checked, Spain was in Europe. And Hispanics are just descendants of Spanish people. So make it all make sense. Like, that's what I'm trying to understand. I don't know what Miss Wow Just Wow is thinking. She's delusional. Thank you, Straight Gen X. Right, Rozzy, every serial killer is a white person. Every weirdo of society. Every person that runs into a building and kills 100 people. Do you know what I'm saying is white? But she's talking about we're the dangerous ones. Like, in what world? Y'all, I wish y'all would be more dangerous. Look, okay, we're already bigger, stronger, smarter, faster. If we were dangerous, they wouldn't stand a chance. The only reason they're able to move the way they do is because we're actually not dangerous, like in real life. Black people are very, very calm and chill. We might get upset and have some energy for a week. And then we just, we're like children. You know how children are? You slap them in the face, they cry, they're mad at you, but 5 minutes later, they'll play with you like nothing happened. That's how Black people are, just forgiving beyond all human, reason. Janice Johnson said, although some of these data are accurate, but they don't show what's truly happening due to the fact that they don't get arrested. Truth. When they do get arrested, they won't be convicted. Janice, you're absolutely right. I completely agree. And see, like, here's the thing. I will agree with her that the FBI stats are not fully accurate, but I would roll with Janice on this, which is that if they were accurate, it would just show that you guys are even more crazy than it already shows. It wouldn't help you for the stats to be accurate. She's talking about all you have to do is walk out in the world and see who's the most dangerous. When I walk out into the world, I see that you're the most dangerous. This brings me to like a whole nother conversation. So what was the name of, so there is a little, hey, self-care boss, there is a little group. Hold on, let me see. Let me try to find it so I don't misquote it. So there is a group that was having an all-Black concert. Eloho reported on this. So AfroFuture was throwing a concert and they were charging white people more than they charge Black people. So it would be like, $10 for Black people, $20 for white people. And then when the prices went up, it was like $20 for Black people, $40 for white people. So white people got into their feelings because they didn't understand why they should have to pay more to engage in a space that's meant for Black people. First and foremost, you don't belong there. This is not for you at all. It's not for you. Okay? This is a Black thing. The fact that anybody's willing to sell you a ticket should make you happy. But if you want to come and put your face up in our business, you'll pay more. Why? Because our people have less money. And Eloho brought up a good point, is that Afro punk became so expensive, the Black people who lived right there by the park cannot even attend. And now they give free tickets if you can prove residency to those Black people, because we were getting shut out of our own Afro punk. So anyway, AfroFuture, let me tell you how white people reacted to this. So we go through a whole society where white people have privilege over us, where white people and a white person and a Black person can come with the same resources and the same intellect, and they will have the leg up on us just because of their skin color. And we're not running around threatening their lives. But when AfroFuture tried to get them to pay a little funky $10 to $20 more than they were charging Black people for a festival they don't even belong at, because it's talking about building things for the Black community. We really don't need you there at all. Like, stay away. You've done enough. Go stand to the far left side corner of the room, please. White people started to threaten people. So this is what AfroFuture said. They said, for the safety of our community, family, and elders who received threats from white supremacists and youth who were subjected to seeing racist comments on our IG page, AfroFuture Fest has changed our ticketing model to a $20 general admission and a suggested donation for white people, essentially. So AfroFuture Fest was doing something, and I was very, very happy with them, where they were charging white people more than Blacks because y'all have more resources. So pay more. Pay more for your position in society. You don't belong here anyway. This is really a festival for Black people. And what I'm so disappointed, like, I can't really knock them for doing it, but I really hate this, that they were able to threaten and bully AfroFuture Fest into submission. But here's the thing, we let them do that. Here we had some Black people trying to be proactive about what their approach was going to be, what their approach was going to be with regard to taking community action and having a festival to help people learn how to deal with the problems in their community and grow and strengthen our community. And because white people felt some kind of way because they had to pay $10 more per ticket and came and were racist and violent toward the people of AfroFuture Fest, and we collectively didn't have our eye on it to protect them. And because despite what, that white woman, what was her name? Despite what this little commenter, Wow Just Wow, said, we're so super violent. It's funny how we're so violent, but to prevent you guys from harassing us, AfroFuture Fest just changed their whole policy. Because we're so violent. Not because you're so violent, not because your people were on their IG page acting crazy. And I encourage you guys to go and support AfroFuture Fest and show your support on IG. And let's be vocal about the fact that they should have never been able to be bullied into making anything equitable for white people. The world is equitable for them. The whole world is equitable for them. They have to have this too. We can't have anything. They will have to have it too. And this is why I said there can be no white allies. And this just brings me to like a whole, the MGTOW Misfit said, you've got to stop shaming white kids so they don't grow up feeling all awkward and ashamed and they won't feel the need to help. The need to help? Are you serious right now? Is that a joke? Nobody needs your help. Your help is not helpful. Your help is not helpful. Your help is let me step on your head while I help pull you up. Dude, you're going to pull my arm out of socket. I'm going to need you to take your white savior complex self to somebody else's channel. Nobody's looking for a white savior here. Paternalism, this is not the paternalist channel. Paternalism, that's a conversation you need to have with your own people. This is what MGTOW Misfit is saying is very similar to what that white doctor was saying in that historical medical journal we read, which is that we have to be nice to white people so that they'll protect and help us. This is the dynamic that they like. So I'm glad you brought your little racist self in here to prove a point. Do you know what I mean? Nobody wants your funky paternalism. Nobody wants your white savior complex self around. That's where you're confused. Is nobody wants you. Nobody needs your help. You guys aren't helpful. That's not helpful. There's nothing you can contribute that is helpful but getting the hell out of the way. If you want to help, go away. Leave. Go away. Go hang out with your own people somewhere. Stay the hell out of our way. That would be helpful. Don't do things like when we try to have an AfroFuture Fest and we know that you're going to try to wiggle your way into our space and we charge you more money, you start throwing a tantrum because it's already bad enough the festival's not about you, but you refuse to be charged more to infiltrate our space. Like, what is going on? Ed, you're not useless. Shut up, Ed. Let me make you a mod, Ed. There's nothing useless about you, Ed. But I'm glad that, MGTOW Misfit bought his pale self up in here to share his thoughts. But honestly, I don't even blame him because he is just a product of white society. And what they have been taught, is that we need them to be our saviors. Ergo, we should not alienate them because we don't want to alienate the very people that have to be our saviors. But you guys, I just don't subscribe to that. I don't subscribe to the idea that we need a white savior. I'm not with that. But white people can't help but think that. Nobody's going to fear offending white children. But I will tell you something. What about the little biracial troublemaker? Oh, yes. Okay, Burke. Burke, let's talk about that. All right, that's fair enough, Burke. Let's talk about that. Where are you, Ed? Let's talk about the little biracial troublemaker that started it all, because Burke does bring up a very good point. Hey, Ross Styles. How are you not a mod, Roz? You've literally been around here forever, right? The biracial troublemaker in this whole Afro festival that went wrong, this all started because one of their artists, and this is why I say that mixed people are not black, okay? One of their artists, while we're calling, first of all, I don't know that this is going to sound really cruel. Okay, let me really, let me think about how I want to present this, because this is going to come off like crazy as heck to some people. But just try to follow me here if you can. Okay. So mixed people are not black. They're not black, y'all. Now, the best that we can ever hope to do, and this is what I try to do, is raise them with an Afro-centered mindset. That is the best that we can hope to do with them. But they are not black. And every once in a while, even though we keep calling them black, like black people call them black, every once in a while, one of them will let you know that they are not black. And this is what this little mixed girl did. What was her name? Let me see if I can find her name. That's what this little mixed girl did. So she should never have been allowed to perform at the concert or at the festival anyway, in my opinion. She should have never been allowed to perform at the festival anyway, because mixed people are always subverting some stuff. If they have not been raised with the proper mindset, they can be very destructive. And this brings me into the conversation I wanted to have about with Michi X, which is when you have a parent who is white, when you have a husband or a wife who is white, when you have grandparents who are white, when you have non-black people in your family that are close to you, we have to talk about how that can affect us as a people, and how do you deal with that dynamic? What can we really do? What are the limitations for people like me, people like Michi, people like this biracial girl who started this whole problem that caused these black people to be harassed by white people in the first place? So this little biracial girl was supposed to perform at the festival. She felt some kind of way that white people were being charged more because she's not black, y'all. So she felt some kind of way because she's half white. And she doesn't identify with blackness unless it's to get paid to sing at a festival. And she's the one who started this whole situation that caused AfroFuture Fest to have to back down off of the stance that they took. She threw a tantrum over it, the mixed chick. She refused to perform at the festival, but whatever, bye. Goodbye. You should have been there anyway. And this is the danger of looking at them as if they're totally black. Y'all know, like, this is a very sensitive subject, you guys, because you know that I have mixed children. But I have to keep it real, right? Because there are things that I could say because it makes me feel comfortable. But this isn't about my personal comfort, right? This is about the good of our people. So let's have a real freaking conversation. That little mixed girl should have never been performing there. Now, I could say that I trust my children or I trust myself to not move funny. But see, I cannot guarantee that for everybody in our position. Ergo, there's some stuff that people like me and people like mixed people cannot do. Not because we don't love y'all. We love you guys. But because there's no guarantee where your mind is at. So here, us calling mixed people black has backfired. Because we put this woman that we considered black, because it's an AfroFuture Fest. It's a festival for black people to build black communities, strengthen black communities, address black issues. So there are black quote unquote artists there, and we want to count the mixed chick as being black. And that mixed girl let us know real quick she's not black. In no way, shape, or form. She stood up for her white side, and then all of the white races descended on the IG page of AfroFuture to the point where they had to protect our people, put the cover at $20 for everybody and just open the door for white people to come, because God forbid you exclude them. And it all started with one little mixed girl. Now, again, you guys know, like, I'm not one of these people. I adore and respect Cynthia G. I don't think that white people are evil. I don't think that, I know some people, not Cynthia per se, but there are other people who think that they're like literally animals. I don't think any of those things. I don't. I don't care who people marry and fall in love with. I would prefer to see us with each other, because we have so much shit in our community that we can't really afford the luxury of making those other decisions. But I don't hate anybody. I don't. But with that said, why was this mixed girl even performing? But what happened with this little biracial girl is exactly the flipping problem. Is that we cannot call them black because they're not black. This little biracial girl has a white parent. That is why she felt some kind of way. And oftentimes, when I hear people talking about dating out and reproducing mixed children and stuff like that, this is why I have like a flipping problem with Chrissy too. Like, I love a lot of Chrissy's content, but a lot of her content, I give the side eye, because if you're going to talk about colorism and the evils of light-skinned people, but then say that black women should date out where we produce more light-skinned people, then how do we fix any problems, right? And here's the thing. Most people date out for exactly the reason that Chrissy promotes, for exactly the reason that a lot of black men here on YouTube promote. Black men and women are promoting dating out because they don't like our own people. They don't think highly of black men. They don't think highly of black women. They are dating out because of hatred for black men and women, because they look down on black men and women. And when you date out because you don't like black men or black women, and somebody gives birth to a child, that child is so far from black you can't even imagine, because that child is produced by a non-black person and a black person who is only with that person because they're not black. My main motivation for picking you was because I don't want a black person. It's not worth it to be with another black person. And that's where it becomes dangerous. because then we have a child grow up, become an artist, get booked because we view her as Black. My man and I, when we were in St. Louis, our Lyft drivers were mixed girls. They might have been, I don't know, high mulatto, quadroon, high mulatto or quadroon, right? Colored like a Spanish person, a white Spanish person, but they had the curly hair, and he kept calling them Black. And I was like, they are not Black. They're not. And it's not because I don't like, it's not because I'm not saying it because of hate. I'm not saying this because of hate. I'm saying it because we really do have Black people who have racially diverse families. And if we don't have some sort of code or standard with regard to these situations, what we end up with is what happened at AfroFuture Fest, which is that you let an infiltrator in, but you didn't see them as an infiltrator because you want to think everybody is as Black, not just in genetics, but as in mindset as you, right? Because Black goes two ways, right? It's the color of our skin, and then it is our mindset. It's our genetics, but it's also our mindset. And maybe above all things, it's our mindset, right? Because Jesse Lee Peterson is dark as hell, but he is white. He's like a legit and full white person. So Burke said, my mom is the daughter of a biracial couple, but I am jet Black men because of my dad back in the day. Biracial people were just Black. So what the hell am I? Here's the thing. Biracial people do have Black kids. That's true. They do, but here's the thing. I don't think we have to pull out a genetic test for everybody. Okay? I talk about my baby sister, like my youngest sister, all the time. She's the color of my daughter, Bella. She's got hazel eyes. My dad has lighter colored eyes too, but he's dark skinned. He's like my color. And she has honey blonde hair. She has two parents that look like me, right? I don't think we need to pull out a genetic test for everybody. But what I will say is this, because everybody is at this point, most of us are not everybody, but most of us are admixed to a point. So I'm not trying to draw any genetic lines in the sand. But what I am saying is this, there is a huge difference in mentality of a person who has a parent who is completely a different race. There is a huge difference in mentality when you have a grandmother that you love and that person is not Black. And that difference in mentality is what that biracial girl exhibited, which is like, whoa, I'm not Black, I'm Black and I'm white. So I feel some kind of way for the white side of me. That's very different than your situation, Burke, where you have an admixture that may be at 25%. Do you follow what I'm saying? It'd be different if you had a grandparent that was fully not Black or a parent that was fully not Black. We don't want to talk about the fact that that does affect us in some kind of way. It does. If you have a spouse that is not Black, it does affect you in some kind of way in how you view things. Because to be honest, it is hard, especially when our people are dating out for reasons of hate. It's very hard for us to be truly objective. If you go home every night and cuddle up next to a white body, if then we have to come and talk about how white people on the whole, again, I am not saying all white people are bad, but on the whole are problematic, the effect that it has on a person will be different. If that's your parent, if that's your spouse, if that's your grandmother. So we have to be able to have conversations from a loving place because I'm not trying to lose anybody when it comes to our community. I don't want to lose anybody, me personally, but we do have to be able to have honest conversations about how that messes with your psyche. and have that conversation from a loving place. Because let's say the revolution has to pop off. Some people will be dangerous who they put on. We see how that quickly backfired and created a climate for white people to be racially aggressive toward the promoters of the AfroFuture Festival. And so, for that reason, we have to have a law that is universal, right? Because we can't guarantee where each individual person's mindset is. And it has to be out of love and not out of hatred, not spitting vitriol, not because you don't like white people, not because of anything other than we have to be for ourselves and do things that make sense for ourselves. Like President Obama. I mean, yeah, Al Johnson, like President Obama, we considered him black. And he went into office and did more for homosexuals than he did black people. You know what I'm saying? And we felt some kind of way because we thought he was black, especially because he's a darker skinned biracial person. Because, you know, they all don't come out light. Some of them are my color. Some of them are Obama's color, darker. We have to tread really lightly and we have to learn from history. Because historically speaking, where we've seen a lot of our movements go south and where we have seen successful attacks against the Black community, it has been because we don't know how to make a distinction and have open conversations about how people need to behave when their families are multiracial. Right? Hi, Kendrick. I mean, that may be true, Rob Carpenter. That may be true. Right, Rozzy? It's not just our skin, it's our mindset. So there does have to be a there has to be a conversation, and I really want to have that conversation. I'm not going to have it tonight because I just have so much to say on it, and a lot of you guys are probably not even going to believe that these words are leaving my mouth. But I want to have the conversation. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to have the conversation without including other people who have white parents or white grandparents or a multiracial family. I want the conversation to include them because a lot of times in these Black spaces and so-called Black, pro-Black conversations, we use language that is unrealistic, that does not include Black people who really want to work toward the cause, and that is offensive without reason, right? I want to talk from a loving place about why we have to be careful and what this has to look like and our positionality has to look like when there is a multiracial familial environment. Because the reality is, even if you didn't date out, even if you didn't reproduce out, you probably have someone in your family that does. And you might love your little biracial niece or nephew or your little biracial cousin. And part of loving that person is at the family reunion, their white parent is going to be there. You might have a grandparent that's not Black. When are we going to sit down and talk about for people who want to work for Black causes, but we need to lay down a clear foundation of what does this look like for you, person with a multiracial family? Because all Black people don't come from fully Black families. I don't know, Burke. You have to ask Michi. I mean, she and I were supposed to do this conversation, and I literally don't know what happened. She's like, I think it's an important topic. I'm down to do it. And I honestly don't know what happened. But I'm not going to, I'm not going to, nor can I twist her arm about it. But you guys ask Michi what's up because I don't know. Like I said, I understand it's a very dicey conversation to have. Do you know what I'm saying? But when I have it, I really wanted to include straight shooters, like people who are honest, because I think it is important for us to have this discussion and have it from a realistic place. Like people talk about separation and all of this, and I'm just like, on some levels, we're a little past full separation. Like people aren't going to not talk to their auntie or their grandma. That's not realistic. We're not white people. I don't see black people going off like white people do and just killing all white people. I don't see black people doing that. We're not that evil. I don't see black people literally just killing black, little white children, little 2-year-olds and stuff. We're not made like them. We are not evil like them. Which means that there's going to be white people around. The best we can hope for is that those white people aren't in charge because they're not sane enough. They're not humane enough. They completely lack humanity. They have no business being in control. No business. They're dangerous in control. But then what do we say and what is the conversation and how do we appeal to our people? Because the goal is to have them on code. And that's not going to happen by just being offensive without a reason. But we can see from this whole situation with the AfroFuture Fest that we do need to have the conversation, because blindly just accepting mixed people and not dealing with how they're going to feel when they have one white parent or a white grandparent. We watched a little mixed girl take down a whole black festival. One mixed woman took down an entire black festival, opened the door for her white half to come in and harass black people. And successfully, because AfroFuture Fest backed down because of the white harassment and because they feared the safety of other black people, all because of one mixed woman who we called black, but quickly let us know I'm white too. So we have to have the conversation, right? Are all mixed people bad? No, that's not what I'm saying. Not even close. What I am saying is that we have to recognize for every mixed person who identifies as black and strongly identifies as black, like we have in Australia, a lot of those indigenous people are now mixed race people, and they hate whiteness with a passion. Because despite the white blood running through their bodies, they know how that blood got there, and they're not going to stand by and watch white people continue to steal their land. There are those kind of mixed people, revolutionary-minded mixed people. But you know what? There are also the kind of mixed people that this little mixed girl was, who will turn on a whole group of black people in a heartbeat over white people. And so because we can never be sure, we have to have a conversation, because we never know what's really in somebody's heart. But that conversation has to be had with love. I mean, Burke, I would agree that they are a weak link. I don't know that they're the weakest link, but they are a weak link. But the thing is that when we have the conversation, we have to have the conversation with love, because every biracial person's not a problem. Hell, there are some full-on black people who are more problematic than these biracials. Let's address the black people that set up in the reparations meeting and talk like full-on white men. What about those two black men? I don't think either one of them were mixed. And they were up there doing the absolute most for white people. But again, it is a different sort of thing when you have a parent or a husband or wife or a grandparent or, mixed family members or non-black family members that you love. And I don't want to discourage people from loving their family. You should love your family. But let's talk about what that looks like from a Black first, Afro-centered perspective, from a pro-Black perspective. What do those relationships need to look like in your relationship to the common cause of uplifting and protecting our people? And I think that's a conversation that we really need to have. One was an Afro Latino. I mean, that's just a black person that speaks Spanish, though, right? I mean, but I do understand what you're saying from the fact that if he's an Afro Latino, why is he even there speaking on reparations? Fool, you're not about to get any money. So I do understand what you're saying from that perspective. Pretty sassy. Yeah, I'm glad you're here, Pretty Sassy, because you come to my heart a lot of times. I hope, Pretty Sassy is mixed. I have mixed daughters. I We have to talk about this from a loving place. Like they are part of us too, but we do have to talk about it. And I don't like the kind of radical conversations that just have no attachment to reality. Do you know what I'm saying? Like this mess has no attachment to reality. We have to have conversations that can really translate into people's real lives. Like some stuff is cute for YouTube. Some things are crazy. You get to say them and it's impressive for YouTube and it draws a crowd and da da da. But like I'm more about things that make sense in real life. Right? Everything's not about getting numbers or drawing a crowd. Some conversations need to be had from a realistic perspective because this is real freaking life at the end of the day. This is some stuff we have to deal with in the real world. These are changes we're going to have to affect in real life. And so we have to start having conversations that make sense for the world that our people are living in now, period. Hold on. I don't know what that was about. Anyway, so with that said, I'm not going to stay on here super long, you guys. I just wanted to address just some of the comments I got in my comment section. I was off YouTube for a week, and then when I came back and I was like reading everything, I was just like, these, these dummies. Like MGTOW, I'm so flipping done with MGTOW. MGTOW swears I care about them, but I really don't. Now watch them come under this video and act a plumb stupid fool. Between white woman and MGTOW and the whole BDSM thing, I was just like, do you guys even watch the videos? Do you just see that I'm black and I have a vagina and just go in the comment section because you assume you know what I'm going to say? Like, could you not comment? At least watch 5 minutes of the video. Like, come on now. Just don't pop up under there because I don't like MGTOW and assume that you have an understanding of the point I'm going to make. So for the record, MGTOW, I don't even believe in toxic masculinity. I think it's trash. But I think MGTOW needs to acknowledge the fact that a white man is the person who came up with toxic masculinity. This has nothing to do with women. A white man did that. A white man who doesn't even want to be a man. Everything doesn't source back to women. Oh, here's one more thing I did want to say that MGTOW brought up. MGTOW was saying that men have become the slaves of women. I'm going to say this. Men hold the most positions of power. Specifically, white men hold the most positions of power. So when I hear a black MGTOW say that women are enslaving men, this is what I would say. The laws that are on the books, the way society runs, women don't control that. White men do. White men do. So maybe MGTOW, men going their own way, it should not be going your own way from women. It should be going your own way from white men. Because all this subversion, the people who keep these laws on the books are white men. These are not women. I think a lot of times we get so caught up in the delusion of the gender war that we don't even realize that white men are behind all this. White men, a white man created toxic masculinity. That was a white man who did that. He wears a dress and pretends to be a girl, but he is a white man. White men hold the most seats in the courthouse. White men hold the most positions of governmental power throughout the entire earth. White men. This is not women doing this. It is white men. So I'm going to just need people to hop off their flipping delusions. They do, Burke. They're weirdos. Hey, JV. So I mean, that's really just what I want to say. Like the last thing that I'm going to say in this live is white men are the problem. If anybody's the damn problem, it's not women. Women aren't making men slaves to anything. White men are in control of this life. If you want to see a law change, you know who you need to check? White men. If you think some things are unfair, you know who's in charge of this? White men. Sometimes we get off focus because we are speaking from a place of personal hurt and one too many YouTube videos that we just completely detach from the reality of things. So, with that said, I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to talk to you guys later. I don't know when I'm going to be like making videos and stuff. It probably won't be till next week, y'all, because I had a death in my family. I had family come into town. I'm taking a few trips with my man and stuff like that. I'll probably be doing more on my vlog channel than on this channel just because, you know, but overall, I just kind of needed a break. I was kind of just getting really irritated with YouTube, just to be real. I get frustrated with YouTube sometimes. I was talking to Dr. G about this, that I get frustrated with YouTube sometimes because for me, I recognize it's such a big deal for us to be able to communicate this way and that we have a real opportunity to take a lot of these conversations into the real world and do things, like actually do some stuff, you guys. And so when I just feel like everything is becoming like too superficial, too base, it's like really upsetting because it's like if you've got 1,000 people in the room, if you've got 500 people in the room, if you've got 300 people in the room, or even here, if I have 60 people in the room, how are we using that time? Everybody wants to be entertained, and I guess that's fine, but I would argue, and I know Sin says this a lot, and I really agree with her. I don't know that we're in a position to worry about entertainment right now. I just don't know that we have the luxury to sit and just want our base nature appealed to. Like there's so much work that has to be done. And I guess I get really frustrated when I feel like that's not the heart of the energy that I see here with Black people on YouTube. It just like, I don't know. It's like, it's very discouraging. You guys know I don't do YouTube for a living. I make no flipping money off of YouTube, y'all. I might make, 60, 70, 80 bucks. I don't make any money off of YouTube. I have a Patreon, but on my Patreon, I'm literally just trying to scrounge up patrons so that we can adopt Black families and send like food baskets to different families and stuff like that. Like it's not to make me any kind of money. I show my patrons, I show how much I'm making. Like I don't, I'm not here to, I don't need to do that, right? This is not a source of income for me. And so because it's not a source of income for me and I really am just on here because I just feel it's a good, when I first came to YouTube, I didn't intend to make this kind of video. I was just going to make videos about motherhood and women and stuff like that. And I still do that on my vlog channel. But when I saw the conversations that were going on, I was like, oh, like we're doing this. And so I started to talk about the things that we talk about in my private life, about the work that we do in my private life. And I don't know, I just want to see our people like, thank you, Kenny. I just want to see our people like do better. And not in a superficial sort of way. I want to see our people do better in the sense that we have a real problem on our hands right now. And we really need to deal with it. We really have to deal with it. Like, we are in a lot of danger collectively, and we need to address that. For so long, we've kind of sat by and we have allowed the status quo to be what it is, even though the people at the top of the totem pole are literally insane. They're crazy. They are crazy and they're bloodthirsty. And unfortunately, we are the targets of that. So we legit have to deal with that. Like, we got to pull our heads out of the sand. And so I guess I just was really disenfranchised with everything that I saw. Um, I was really irritated that my name was like coming up and stuff because I felt like, I don't even move that way. So I know that you're messy. I know you're messy if you're including me in this because I don't even have crap to say about anybody. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not here for that. This isn't Ricky Lake or Jerry Springer or any of that crap. I'm not with any of that. But so we'll see. But I mean, you guys will hear from me. I'm trying to gather my thoughts of what I want to talk about. I kind of want to talk about the Democrats, but it's like the freaking Special Olympics with those idiots. I'm so sick of the Democrats. Like, they are legit retards. Like, legit off the short bus. And Trump is going to win the next election because everybody around him is a dang clown. Like, what is going on? But I feel like right now, while they're running around confused and don't know what to do with themselves, like, it's a really good time for us to get our minds right because they're very distracted fighting amongst themselves. And so I think this is a good time for us to get our minds right because they're so absorbed with each other, they won't see us coming. That's my thought process, at least. So with that said, y'all, let me see what you guys are talking about. Right, Rozzy, Black Power, exactly. So with that said, I will talk to you guys a little bit later. And yeah, thank you for coming out. I'm sorry I've been kind of MIA for a week. Bye, you guys.